Rescue or guide? Why rescue is the better approach? I'm part of a private Facebook group where we talk about different healing topics from spiritual and philosophical perspectives. I found that much of what is discussed here also translates into the world of wellness coaching. And a question posed recently caused me to ponder it and share my thoughts with you. Our page facilitator asked, when did you first learn that it's not your job to rescue people? And how did you feel about that? The facilitator went on to comment that when it happened to her, she went through a withdrawal in letting go of this behavior. Reflecting on this concept of letting go of rescuing others, and that it left a sense of loss or withdrawal, I had to stop and think whether this applied to me. I did note in other comments on this post that this reaction is actually quite common for those of us who are actively compelled to rescue. What I've come to believe is that for those of us who do jump into rescue, we ourselves get our own confidence boost, or ego stroke, if you will. There is a certain satisfaction in being that person who saves the day, who's the hero, who is shown undying gratitude for making it all better for someone. It becomes more about having been that champion instead of about the sufferer who is in pain. I then started to think, well, if not rescue, then what? What is the alternative to rescue when someone looks to you to help heal that wound? What came to me when I really started to explore this is that as a wellness coach using a solution-focused, client-centered approach, I'm not the rescuer. I'm merely the guide. In this style, one thing that really hit home is that when we as coaches try to provide the solution to the problem, or we act on our writing reflex to fix, we actually send a message to clients that we don't believe that they have the ability to help themselves. It actually undermines their own confidence and erodes their hope. There is an incredible difference when we act to fix, save, or just outright do for someone instead of guiding the person to his or her own solution. These clients may think that their ultimate desire in seeking out coaches, healers, or the like is to be given the answer to the problem, to be handed a prescription of sorts that outlines exactly the steps to take, and that everything will be better from then on. Unfortunately, there are inherent issues with this approach. Aside from the message of non-confidence that I mentioned earlier, one of the other concerns is that this directive style is one-sided. The relationship between the coach and the client becomes somewhat hierarchical in that the client is prompted and maybe even expected to adhere to the prescribed plan, or else the problem won't or can't be solved. This is done pretty much from the standpoint of the coach and not the client. The coach hears the problem, examines possible answers from his or her own experience and perspective, and then delivers these solutions to the client for action to change. Then this client is expected to understand and perform when perhaps the solutions have no relevance whatsoever to that client's desires, abilities, resources, or even needs. So how is it different when we guide as opposed to when we rescue? Even if the client is looking for that life preserver, that magic pill to make things all better again. The most important thing that I as a coach, or those of you who are in other positions of healing can do, is instill hope. Yeah, that's right. Instill hope. Oh, and as a side note here, all of this discussion is not exclusive to healers and clients. You can think about this from the perspective as a parent to a child, a teacher to a student, a friend to a friend. It actually applies in any situation where one person is in pain, suffering, or trying to make a positive change, and the other is the person who is there to help. So why is instilling hope very, very important? The cornerstone of it all. Well, because people who are looking to solve a problem, looking to make that change toward the preferred outcome, to have a glimmer that it's even possible, they have to believe that it is feasible, that it is within themselves to get to that desired future, even if in that moment it feels remote. And how that hope is created is through collaborative conversation, the guiding light to the path for the wounded one. helping that person to rediscover those strengths, those resources, those abilities already deeply ingrained within and are illuminated to rebuild that hope. The guide helps paint the picture of that preferred life with positive changes. We create the canvas together, the guide handing the brushes, the paints, and maybe even offering a little technique to the client for application to the canvas. And through questions and discussion together, the new masterpiece takes shape, and the client starts to see some color, a bit of landscape, some beauty in the creation that is uniquely his or hers. So why would I rob these people of the ability to discover this hope and the ability to exercise the ultimate power to design for themselves what it is that they truly prefer for their lives? When I see that light go on as the realization dawns that they truly have the capability not only to create their path to changes, but to also sustain those changes for the long haul, that is the boost I get when guiding instead of rescuing. That becomes the addiction for me instead of being the savior. In the end, if you nurturers, healers, parents, coaches, or those in any other role where you feel compelled to help others, consider this concept of rescue versus guide before you jump in to save, because you can still be the hero after all.